Hello again, everybody. This is Ed, back with Call Me Mr. Broadstreet. So I'm sorry I've been away for so long. Some personal stuff that's gone on outside of the channel, obviously as a hobby. Just some extended family members that needed some assistance, and of course, recently there was someone who worked in our building who had unexpectedly passed away. Went to their service. Wonderful, wonderful human being. So just to let folks know, it's been a few things outside of here, but I'm back, ready to do more reviews. So first of all, thank you all for being patient with me. As always, if you're enjoying the content, just make sure to give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Now for this week's review, as we're continuing and kicking off and getting back into the swing of things, it's Ringo the Fourth. So Ringo the Fourth was released in 1977, released in the U.S. on September 30th of 1977, and released in the United Kingdom 10 days earlier on the 20th of September 1977. Now the charts for this one, well, they weren't as great as the past few albums. That's probably putting it mildly. U.S. chart, it was number 162, and in the U.K. the album did not chart at all. So yeah, this is where things kind of fell off track for Ringo, at least commercially, in the United States, certainly. So there's some backing vocals on various songs, which include the likes of Bette Midler and Luther Vandross. Luther Vandross at this point had worked with David Bowie about 2 to 3 years earlier, so he was kind of up-and-coming backing vocalist before launching into his solo career in the 80s and 90s. At least from what I'm aware of. So just definitely some good company that he was with. So all the songs in the album, they're written by Ringo and Vinnie Poncia. I might be mispronouncing the name, so I apologize in advance. Vinnie Poncia. I might pronounce it a couple different ways, unless otherwise stated. So with the album, we start off with the first track, Drowning in the Sea of Love. This is written by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, so I'll just point out the songwriters on the different songs. It's a strong opener. It's definitely a good track. This is one I tend to play the most, and I hadn't revisited this album in a while. It's been a while since I've actually played the whole thing. So it's the one I tend to play the most when I'm kind of just skipping through in the mood for a Ringo track. It's the longest track on the entire album. Kind of a classic song about a loved one leaving you. I'm drowning in the sea of love. There's a lot going on in Ringo's personal life at this time, having been divorced from his wife Maureen, and probably a lot of substances, let's be honest, including alcohol at this point for Ringo. This feels kind of like a Saturday Night Fever deep cut. The backing vocalists, they are carrying a lot of the song, but when Ringo's singing it, I mean, he's putting a lot of gusto and passion, even though, yeah, he's sounding pretty well inebriated in some cases, but you know what? He's giving it his all. That, I kind of enjoy the vocals on the song, so in a weird way, probably one of my favorite tracks on the album. So definitely a good track to just kick off things in an up-tempo way. Second track, Tango All Night, written by Steve Haig and Tom Seufert. Spanish flavor meets disco light is kind of a description of the track. It's competent, it's nice enough, but it definitely slows down the album momentum, in my opinion. Could have probably gone with a more up-tempo track. You've got track 1, which is a great up-tempo track. Track 2, it kind of slows down the album, in my opinion. Possibly the weakest song on the album. Again, pleasant enough, and I'm going to say that a lot with this review. Track number 3, we get the song called Wings. Not about the band. It's written by Ringo and Vinnie Poncia, so it's the first co-write of Ringo. He does one of 6 songs here where he's the co-writer. It's a laid-back vocal here. It suits Ringo's style very well. It's kind of more mid-tempo, but definitely a stronger song here than the previous track. There's some nice guitar work throughout throughout the song. It feels to me a little bit like the Eagles meeting disco, in my view, when I was re-listening to it just a little bit ago. The lyrics definitely have some good imagery here, so good enough, solid track. Track number 4, this is a second co-write that Ringo has on the album. Gave it all up, basically gave it all up for love, moving on from childhood friends, kind of growing up, falling in love with someone. There's a harmonica that adds kind of a little bit of a country flavor to the song itself. It's definitely a mellow song, again, nice enough, pleasant enough for Ringo to sing well within his range. Track number 5, again, one of my favorites on this album, Out on the Streets. This is the third co-write with Ringo that he has on the album here. It's kind of switching back to an up-tempo song here. Ringo's kind of grooving out on that dance floor again, if you will. He has to just get out, hit the streets. He's definitely talking about New York in this song. This almost sounds like an opening track, in my mind when I hear it, to a long-lost disco adventure film with Ringo. Yeah, it kind of does. It does sound like an opening track to a film in my mind. The backing horns, it sounds very of its time. There's some saxophone on the track as well. Again, just a great track here. He kind of references the Dakota in this song, so I'm sure he was thinking of John and Yoko at the time. Again, as I explained, definitely describing New York City here in this track. Funny little ad-lib at the end of the song about getting robbed, sticking a knife up someone's nose, up Ringo's nose apparently, for Ringo's watch. Kind of funny, and of course, let's not forget, at the time, New York City was a much more dangerous place than the more Disney kind of version that we see now, especially with Times Square, certainly in the 70s and the 80s when this song was made. Track number 6, so we get another track. This is another cover version, Steve Duboff and Gary Robinson track. Can She Do It Like She Dances? Well, can she? Basically seeing a woman on the dance floor. She's definitely got some spicy moves. It's kind of a more tame version of Why Don't We Do It in the Road, in my view. Pleasant enough, again, it's there, but moving on to the next track, written by Alan Toussaint. Now, Alan Toussaint, of course, worked a little bit with Paul and Wings on the 1975 album, for Venus and Mars. And, of course, Alan Toussaint also later worked with Elvis Costello on the show that he did on the Sundance Channel, Spectacle. So a little bit of trivia, how everything's connected. So Alan Toussaint, definitely a legendary songwriter. Sneaking Sally Through the Alley, kind of a song probably a lot of folks have heard covered. So it's a cover song. There's great synths on the song. This is very much almost like a Paul Simon sound to the synths in my ears when I listen to it. Definitely kind of that late 70s, early 80s vibe to it. Basically, the moral of the song, well, it's the classic side piece story, as old as time. The spoiler alert, he gets caught by his main squeeze, sneaking Sally through the alley. So again, pleasant enough song, nice cover, good groove to the song as it goes. We get to track number 8, and the rest of the tracks are the co-writes with Ringo. So track number 8, it's no secret. It's just another nice mellow ballad, falling in love. To me, it sounds like a mellow ballad you would hear in a dentist's office back in 1977. So, again, nice enough. It's there. It exists. Pleasant enough background music. Track number 9, Gypsies in Flight, another Ringo co-write. Nice little slide guitar in the track itself. Don't know when or where we'll meet again. Slight southwestern flavor to the track here as I listen to it. It's basically moving on from someone and being grateful for a very short time together that you might have spent with them. Again, pleasant enough. Could have even gone on the Ringo album, maybe the Goodnight Vienna album. Would have been a nice song to put this one on. Track number 10, A Simple Love Song. Well, it is a simple love song. It's the final track on the album. It's a slightly more up-tempo end to the album itself. Just basically can't wait to see someone again. And that reflects a lot of the album. I think the album overall, it's pleasant enough. It's not his strongest album. Now, a lot of critics were very harsh on the album at the time with their reviews, and that certainly didn't help sales, I'm sure. But again, it's got a pleasant sound to it. There's some good up-tempo tracks. The rest of it's kind of got a nice mellow vibe to it. I mean, it does suit Ringo's voice well. If I'm comparing it to other material, I would go with an overall rating of Pick Up Next. This is something to pick up next in your journey with Ringo. I'm definitely going to recommend Ringo from 1973, Goodnight Vienna from 1974, Stop and Smell the Roses from 1981, which I know I haven't yet reviewed, or Time Takes Time from 1992 first over this album. I'm even going to recommend Choose Love from 2005 before getting this album. Again, this is just like a middle-of-the-road album. At the time, I don't know if Ringo was just kind of following some of the trends, which is very well possible. But even then, it's certainly nothing along the likes of the Bee Gees or Donna Summer or anything like that, or 1977, which is such a classic landmark year with other albums as well. Nevermind the Bollocks by the Sex Pistols. Certainly in pop culture, you've got Star Wars appearing on the screens. So kind of a jam-packed year. It's just a nice middle-of-the-road release from Ringo, but it may not have been the release that his career commercially needed at the time. I think with Rotogravure from the previous year, 1976, kind of getting a little more of a cooler chart reception, I think in retrospect what Ringo needed to do was just really rock out on an album. I know some of the folks on other sites, I want to say it's maybe Talk More Talk folks or Two Legs, I can't remember where I heard it right now. The question was asked, would Ringo have benefited from touring behind this album? And I have to agree, I have to think so, that if he was out touring the U.S., certainly in 1977 or 78, it might have helped with some sales. But again, who knows? Maybe the partying got in the way of it. We don't know. We don't know what exactly happened. But again, nice mellow album. Just again, I would go with Pick Up Next as the overall recommendation. Pleasant enough. Add it to your collection at some point if you enjoy Ringo. And the title Ringo the Fourth, it seems like the fourth mainstream album. You got Ringo, Goodnight Vienna, Rotogravure from 1976, Ringo the Fourth. You're not really counting the first two albums, Buku of Blues and Sentimental Journey. Sentimental Journey was a covers album. Buku of Blues was also another kind of country covers album. Sentimental Journey was a standards album that Ringo had done. Both of those, I think, within about the first year after the breakup of the Beatles, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's just about it for this review. On the next review, I'm going to go ahead and revisit Paul McCartney, the lyrics. I was rereading this, kind of getting re-inspired to get back into the game, as it were, getting back into the swing of things. And there's definitely a couple of songs that, that I want to go through with the book again. A couple of newer songs that I like some of the lyrics and pictures and everything to show people. So that will be the next review very shortly. Again, if everybody's enjoying the content, thank you for bearing with me. And of course, as always, give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Thank you to everybody. There's more show ideas coming. And I'll see everybody in the next review. Bye.